Okay, this is our regular, well, it won't, hold on. Okay, so under agenda item A, I call the meeting to order. Item B, invocation and pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for all you've done for us. Thank you for the good weather we've enjoyed. We could use a little less wind, but we thank you for the cool weather. We ask for some rain, but rain at the right time so that the Little League season can continue and not get games canceled. But we'd ask you for guidance for those that are serving on this board as they make decisions for our community and for the betterment of growth of our city. Thank you for their time and effort and energies that they put in, and continue to bless them. In Jesus' name, amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving, is it me or is it loud? Okay, under item B, I'm sorry, under item C, Citizens Forum, did anybody sign up today? No? Okay. Moving on to item D, presentation from the Los Fresnos Little League. That's on page 3 of your packet. Gentlemen, if you'll go up to the pedestal and make sure that the light is on, that way the mics pick up your voices. More importantly than for us is people watching on YouTube will be able to hear you.
The sound is coming out of here is what you're hearing. And it hasn't been before.
So our equipment is working. The button.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving us some time to go over a couple of things with you pertaining to the Los Fresnos Falcons Little League. My name is Joe Aguirre. I'm in the company of our league president, Jose Vasquez. I'll hand it over to him in just a minute. I just wanted to let you guys know a couple of things about the Los Fresnos Little League happenings, right? The season is coming to fruition. It's a relief to say that we will begin playing this coming week. First game will be on Tuesday, I believe.
Tomorrow.
Tuesday, and then there'll be multiple games per week through the weekend. That's thanks to a lot of the work from the board members. I'll recognize that over and over again. A lot of people put a lot of work into building teams, registrations, recruiting sponsorships, scheduling, just equipment handling, field maintenance, just a lot of work, but it's coming to fruition. So I thought I just had recently, we met with coaches last week, and I shared with them a thought that I had. I said, man, a lot of times, as I'm sure some of us question, like why we do certain things that take time away from our family, from our job, from our personal time off, and I told them, I come back and I do this for the community's sake of it, because I want my children to grow up around other coaches, not just me. I want Vasquez to coach my kids because I benefit from that, and my kids benefit from that. So I told them, I told all the coaches that were sitting, I said, that's why I do it, because I want there to be a community of baseball and coaches and players, and I want us to get together and talk and build friendships. So I said, I hope that you guys recognize that and you put forth some effort to help us keep this thing going. So I just wanted to share that thought. Why do I do this? Because it is exhausting, but that's why we do it. And I know that Vasquez shares the same philosophy. We do it for the sake of our kids and our community. This season, we registered 472 boys and girls to play baseball and softball. 472, that's a big number. It's not an easy undertaking. Registrations and uniform orderings, all that is a big task. We also, prior to the season beginning, we had a softball showcase for elementary school girls from different Los Fresnos CISD elementary schools. It was like a tournament, but it was not for placement and it was not for a championship. It was just so that they could play. And that helped us build the numbers on the softball side. So we had a lot more softball players this year than last year, a lot more softball teams as well. And no, I just want to say that we're getting a lot of attention because of that, because our softball numbers are growing. And no, just that was my intro. Again, I'm a coach, a volunteer, and a dad, helping out alongside others. At this point, I want to introduce our league president, Joe Vasquez, to go over some more details pertaining to the league and our status.
All right, guys, so this year we have, like Mr. Aguirre said, 472 players. As far as teams go, we have 39 teams. For the first year in, I'm going to say 6-7 years that we've been running the league, we never had a juniors softball team. Juniors is composed of 13 and 14-year-old girls. So this year we have one team on the juniors. We have 2 teams in the majors, which is 11-12. On the minors, we have 4 teams. That's age 9 and 10 years old on the softball side. On the baseball side, for the first time, same thing. In probably this is the first time that we're actually having 4 junior team baseballs. That is age 13, 14. So that means that if we actually split them into the middle schools, we have one more than if we had one team per middle school this year. So junior baseball, age 13, 14 years old, is growing tremendously. And I think that is gonna keep pushing as far as where we're going with it. We did get a lot of support from the school districts this year, not only the softball side, but also on the baseball side. Like Mr. Aguirre mentioned, we did a clinic. And the clinics were actually run by Coach Morales and Coach Molina, head coaches from the high school, both for softball and baseball. It was really great. One of the biggest things that we always tell everybody is we want to be able to start transitioning the kids that we have in our program to what is being expected at the high school level. And I think that by having the coaches being involved with us, and they're all about helping as well. So I think that really helps, and it says a lot about our community, about the Little League. I think we're going in the right direction when it comes to what we're doing with the coaches, with the players, and the development that we're doing for our community. This year we are actually hosting or helping our neighbors, Port Isabel. Laguna Madre did not have a Little League this year, so we have their players coming over here to Los Fresnos because they're renovating their fields. I believe they're going to be making a sports park. So I'm just saying we can't stay behind. I think that's something that we need to start planning. If Port Isabel can do it, I think we can. But we are actually taking in the players from Port Isabel for this year. So with that in mind, our numbers did grow a little bit more. Not much, but it did grow a little bit more just because of that as well. But as far as helping out our neighbors, I think that it really shows what we're about as far as a community. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. As far as in the past years, our registration did not increase. We stayed at $75 per registration. We did share the T-Mobile grant that's offered to our community. Anybody that's with low income or that has some type of a welfare, they do qualify for that. They pretty much, doesn't matter how many kids they have, T-Mobile grant will pay for that. So that alleviated a lot from the community. They did take advantage of it. I know that in the first week when that grant opened, there was over 70,000 people in line just to apply for those grants, because that's a nationwide, T-Mobile grant. So there was a lot of people that were waiting, and some of them did take advantage of it. They did qualify, so that helped a lot. Pretty much our cost per player right now, we're still looking at about $110 per player. when it comes to the charters, the insurance, the equipment that we have to purchase. Anything from coach pitch and up, they all need catcher's gear. And for some of you guys that have been involved with sports, you guys know what I'm talking about. Catcher's gear is probably the most expensive equipment we're going to be able to buy. And as far as how long can we use it, 2-3 years, and then we got to replace it. So those are some of the things that we encumber as far as a big expense. If it wasn't for you guys, the CDC, our sponsors helping us every year, we wouldn't be able to make this possible. The other thing that I just wanted to share with you guys is in the pictures that we shared with you guys, we already have those soft toss nets. It's four nets that we're utilizing already. A lot of the kids are taking advantage of it. Wednesday, we're actually starting to install our batting cages. So we're having 2 batting cages. One is a 55-foot by 12. The other one is a 70-foot by 12. Why the difference? One, we're going to use it more for what we call a combo batting cage, where you can use it for softball or baseball. Softball, 55 feet, you're pretty much within the range that you need as far as for the pitching machines. When it comes to the baseball side, 70 feet, your baseball pitching distance, you're looking at 60 feet. So that 70 gives you that, where you can be inside, be able to have the machine pitching to you at an, accurate speed or distance where you would be looking at on a junior division or at the high school level. So those are some of the things that we are planning to start, and that's where you guys come into play. We're here not only to share what is it that we're doing as far as for the community, but we're also here presenting to you guys what is it that we're going to be needing assistance with or help for this year. I know that you guys help us every year, and right now, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at just for the pitching machines, the L netting that we call it, pretty much to protect the coach from where they're pitching. We call them waffle balls, or pitching machine baseballs. Those we're looking at about $10,000 that we're going to be needing to be able to put that in. Currently, the league has about $13,000 in our budget. However, we still need to spend some of the money for All-Stars. We are going to be hosting All-Stars again this year here for the district. This is not a secured yet, but we might actually be hosting it for the junior division, and I've already talked to the high school. They said we can use their fields if we're able to host the All-Stars for which is the 13, 14-year-olds. So that would actually bring a lot more people into our community. And like I said, if we can bring in more people to our community, that'll definitely help out the businesses as well. But we do have 39 teams total. And as of right now, most of the teams already have a sponsor, whether it's a $300 sponsor or $500 sponsor. That is going to help a lot. But like I said, we do have a lot of expenses that we're still going to be encumbering come through the regular season. A lot of our expenses also go to umpires. That's one thing that this year we have 7 new umpires coming on board. That's tremendous, because normally we are in dire need of people wanting to be umpires. And this year, as a matter of fact, today we actually have an umpires clinic where we're hosting Coach Pitch. And last week we had one for minors baseball, just so that we can have those umpires be trained on an actual scenario. So just putting those clinics, I think it's really helping us to be able to get the community involved. We have a few of the umpires too, Martin Castillo and Michael Montes, that will be coming back to umpire. And these guys had been doing it in the past many years ago. Now they're coming back again. And I think a lot of it is just really, what we're doing as a community as a whole, where people want to be involved, they want to be part of our youth programs. And so, like I said, in the handouts that we passed, kind of gives you an idea. One of them, the pitching machine there, that's your combo tech, which is your softball, baseball. The other one, it's a little bit more expensive. We're looking at about $5,000 for that one. But in total, we're looking at about $10,000 that we're going to be looking into spending to be able to put them into the community. What's that going to do? It alleviates from actually people or teams having to go to Brownsville, going to Harlingen, because I don't even think San Benito has any batting cages. So if we can keep our community here, I think that alleviates a lot, and it actually benefits our youth programs. Now, as far as once we get them set up, we're going to be doing some type of a scheduling so that we're not actually having too many teams trying to go in at the same time. Honestly, I personally have one. Mr. Aguirre has a batting cage at home. 1 hour that you give per every team, it's more than enough time. So we're gonna try to coordinate something to where everybody, at least in the minors and up, everybody will be able to get a chance to be able to go through and run their practices with utilizing the equipment that's there for the community. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
Are we allowed to ask questions, or do we do it during the funding?
Wait till the action item.
This is just a presentation, so.
That's correct.
When it's an action item, we'll be able to back and forth.
And with that being said, we want to invite you guys Friday, 5 o'clock. Well, it'll start at 6 o'clock. We are having the mariachi, so y'all can go and take a couple of gritos. We'll be starting at 5:45. The mariachi will be 5:45 to 6 o'clock. Our opening ceremonies will start at 6 o'clock. I know you guys are very busy, but if you guys can make it out there, some of you guys have been able to go and kind of see the big picture. What is it that we do for our community? So we do want to invite you guys out there. I did also extend our invitation to our mayor, the city council, to see if they can also be part of it. We want to recognize you guys for what you guys do and the support that you guys give the Little League. So I do want to extend an invitation to you guys. Hopefully you guys can make it out there. And I'd like for some of you guys to start warming up so that y'all can throw a pitch. Because last year we did a good job with Mr. Juarez, so he still got it.
I threw a strike, by the way.
Yeah. So thank you guys very much. I really look forward to see you guys there, and you can be part of the opening ceremonies. I think that we really don't look into really the closing, but it's really the opening. It's the beginning of the season, and really it prepares our players to what's coming down for the rest of their season.
One quick comment before we start. You guys are doing an excellent job. If you've been out there to see the fields and how much time they put into the fields, they look excellent, ready to go, professional. These guys done an excellent job, set up the cages for the slow pitch. Man, they're putting their hearts into it, and it's something that was really needed. So, man, I hate for the day to come when you guys are no longer doing it. I hope that you have somebody that can take your place, because that's what we need. We can't go backward. We got to go forward. Thank you.
We'll reserve comments for the action item. We'll be able to openly discuss it, so don't leave. That concludes your presentation, sir. Thank you. Moving on to under action items, under E1, consideration and action to approve the minutes of March 4th, 2024.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the minutes from March 4th, 2024.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. We approve the minutes of March 4th, 2024. That's in page 4 of your packets. And the second, any questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Under action item 2, consideration and action to acknowledge the March 2024 financial report, A, monthly, B, year-to-date, and C, sales tax report. That's on page 9 of your packet. Mr. Milo?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the first paper is the check report. There's a couple that I just wanted to mention that of things we do. The first one, Border Press, that's city maps that we use to give out new businesses. It just helps them. We also give it to new people that move in their community. I know everything's done on GPS these days, but it is good to have a map to see our businesses and our community, how it's laid out. The second one's our audit, and we'll go over that later. About the middle is there's some to Peterson Construction for the paving that has been done on the couple of streets that the CDC paid for because of near businesses. And then one down towards about 3/4 of the way, H2O Construction for the Veterans Memorial, another payment for that. So I think we're about halfway paid for their project. The next page is our budget report, and through six months already, we're halfway through our budget year. We're up in interest earned, of course, good interest on the money in the bank. And that is, so we're at 66.62%. And that doesn't include March yet because we just closed that yesterday. So that's looking good. Sales tax for the 6 months, we're at 54.12, so we're above budget in sales tax, which is good news. And then expenditures are still looking fine. If you'll look down about 3/4 of the way, you'll see special projects. That's where the paving and the Veterans Memorial is hitting. It hits our current budget, but yet we planned for those and saved money over the last few years. So we're doing very well as far as budget goes. The next page is our sales tax report. And for March, we had $44,312.48, which is a $4,485.31 increase over last year. So that's 11.26% increase. So business is still doing good. Our business community, so far the first 6 months of the year, we're up 14.69% over last year, and we were almost 11% up all of last year. So doing very well. Up over $40,000 compared to last year in sales tax receipts. So business community is doing well, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to consider the action, acknowledge the March 2024 financial report, A, monthly, B, year-to-date report, C, sales tax report.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. We acknowledge the March 2024 financial report, monthly, year-to-date, and sales tax report. Any questions, comments, discussion?
No, sir.
That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to action item E3, consideration and action to approve funding for the Los Fresnos Little League. That's on page 10 of your packet. I'll note that there's didn't appear to be any material other than the handout we received from the gentleman here today. But I open up for discussions and comments for anyone that wishes to say something, and I'll wait my turn.
I guess the question is on the funding, is this part of the sponsorship that we do every year, or? Do you know what the amount was for last year?
I can't exactly remember. I thought I would go look, but a few years ago, to get them out, we did 18 and then dropped back down a little bit. But
So what is the
I
amount we're
can
asking?
go look specific if you wanted me to, but it'd take me a couple of minutes.
Well, you gentlemen don't recall the amount that we supported you with last year? Okay, and just to get it up on the table here, so you're looking for maybe that amount plus an additional 10? Is that what you're asking for for the equipment, or did I misunderstand? Okay, and that additional 10 will be for the batting cage, not the batting cages, because you have those already, would be for the pitching machine, the dimple balls, and the screens? Okay. Now, how many, these yellow dimple balls are you talking about? It says they come up by the dozen. Okay, what, 10 dozen, or?
As far as what we're looking for is about 10 dozens and about 5 dozen of the softball.
Okay, so that would be about 15 dozen. And they're similarly priced or priced alike? Okay. it's-
Times what, how many? 10?
The baseball at $55.95.
So they're looking at 10 for baseball and 5 for softball,
15. $100. Round it out.
okay? Now, that would be lumped into the 10,000.
We'll have those screens.
The screens are included in that? Okay, so your $10,000 includes everything you have in here?
Covered.
Okay, just so that everybody on the same page now, they're looking at about 8,000 for sponsorship and an additional 10. Am I correct, Mr. Aguirre? Mr. Castillo? Okay. Now it's my turn to make a comment. My son plays Little League. Matter of fact, Mr. Aguirre is the coach. They're practicing over at Laureles Park, and I've always bragged about our city parks here, about how you go to the park and there's lots of people in our parks in the evenings, all kinds of people, people on the skateboard, people playing basketball, people walking. It's a community, it's a heartbeat of our community. Well, I was amazed when I went to Laureles Park, because even though it's outside our city limits, it's our community there. I saw basketball teams practicing. I saw little girls and young kids playing t-ball. I saw football players. And the parking lot, that's a big park. It is full, and I'm glad that we're over there, because there's no way we're going to fit in our local facilities, even both parks combined. So I'm really amazed by the amount of people that are involved in our community, and it's a lot of money, but I think it's absolutely worth it because of if you go to the opening day, like I did last year when I threw my strike, if you go there, the looks on the kids' face when you see the smile, they're so happy and so proud. And it's not only the little kids, you got to look at the stands, because that's where the parents are. The parents, the sister, the abuelo and abuelas and comadres and compadres, they're all there. And it is, in a nutshell, the community came together and became one, you know? So I think it's a lot of money, but I think it's not too much to ask to refund the Little League the same amount last year, maybe throw in $1,000 for inflation, and then the 10,000 that they're asking for. Things are much more expensive this year, even with the help from Walmart. Much more expensive this year than they were last year. So that would be my thoughts on it, and I'll open it to anybody else who wants to say something.
Yeah, I got some comments to make also. When I was pulling into the parking lot, you could see people over here in between the fire department and the Lions Club, and there's kids out there, there's teams out there, you know, looking for space to practice, because I know we have a lot of teams, we have a lot of more teams this year, and one of the things they need is they need a place to practice, and sometimes, you know, if they go on a field, well, somebody comes around and says, well, you can't practice there because that's so-and-so, and that's a rule, and I know that a lot of times some of the teams, they try to use the actual Little League baseball fields, and that is sometimes unfair to the other teams that don't have a place to practice. You go over there to the football stadium, in that parking lot behind the football stadium, that place is full. That place is full of all kinds of teams. You got the girls practicing, you got the little kids practicing, you got the big boys practicing. You go to Laureles and they're practicing over there. But there's also soccer teams that are practicing all over the place over there. So there's a lot going on, and we need space. And one of the things you need when you practice baseball, you need a backstop. If you don't have a backstop, you'll be chasing that ball, you'll be wasting a lot of time. You really need a backstop. So that's another thing. I don't know if we can provide them, do a makeshift, some kind of backstop, use that PVC pipe and build some backstop for these kids so they can use them, so they have a place to practice. Because if you don't practice, come game day, oh man, you're not gonna be very good, and the parents notice, and the other teams notice. So we want to try to make it as fair as possible for all the teams, so they all have a good chance to compete. That's the important thing, to be able to compete and be able to learn. And we have some coaches that can teach these kids, and we won't have a problem when they get to high school.
I have a comment. The money that we will be spending for the kids, the return on investment, it's a lot. I mean, and glad that we're doing this for the kids because it gives them something to do. And for me, I'm just proud that we're doing this.
What park is the event going to be taking place at for the opening day? Thank you.
Go up to the podium whenever. The people on YouTube can't hear us, can't hear you.
So the opening ceremonies is going to be on the main city park next to the skate park, and it'll be on the middle field, which is the baseball field.
On the grant, y'all said, did y'all apply for that T-Mobile grant?
Actually, that's a grant that Little League International offers for everybody. The only thing that I, as a president, have to do is I go in there and I just register the league as a recipient. So anybody that will go into the website, they just look for Los Fresnos Little League and automatically they qualify for it. All we got to do is just go in there and just put our name on there.
Okay.
You're going to say something, Mr. Aguirre? Just step up to the podium.
No, just to clarify that the grant is available to pay registration fees for the players, but the grant is not available for the league to apply for any grant funding.
Okay, then,
Yeah, I just want to make a couple more comments. I started coaching there about 2007, helping Mark, more or less. But back then, we were the Pony League, and we were using the softball field for a while until Laureles Park was built. And over the years, I've seen that park just really come together. And just a couple of years, I started coaching there I did it on and off for a lot of years up until just recently, like a year ago. I eventually donated all my extra gear that I had sitting around to help you guys last spring, you guys remember. But I just wanted to make a comment. A couple of years ago, I think it was last year I was coaching there. I went by there after having dinner with my family. Just wanted to see how things are coming along. We had a lot of rain. We had a game the next day on Friday morning or something like that. And sure enough, it was 11 or so at night, and Jose was out there, Mr. Vasquez, and Joe Kitterman. They were out there still working the fields. And what you see going on right now in Little League compared to what was happening way back when we started, these guys have brought it a long way. And the league is definitely in good hands right now, and that's a really good thing. The hats off to you guys for all the hard work you've done out there to really bring the league to where it's at now. And me having run a league before, it's not as easy as you think. For some of the people that have never run a league, it is a lot of work, and it all comes down to 3 months worth of work that just gets. Once you hit the go button, the green button, it's full speed for the next 3 or 4 or 5 months. And my hat's off to all the volunteers that are out there coaching, running the league like you guys are as board presidents and so on and so forth. So yeah, when it comes down to the consideration to approve some funds for this little league right now, I can tell you that the league is in good hands. So none of us should feel like if maybe we're not making the right investment here. So, yeah, those are my comments.
Any further comments? And if not, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we consider an act to approve the funding for the Los Fresnos Little League in the amount of 8,000 plus the 10,000. Is that correct?
Well, I'd like to actually raise, instead of a total of 18,000, let's give it an even 19. Let's give an extra 1,000 in there, just because I know things have gotten really inflated in the last couple of months. And we're already pretty much there. So I say we raise it up to a total of 19,000. So it'd be 9,000 plus the 10,000.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we consider an act to approve funding for the Los Fresnos Little League in the amount of $19,000.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. We approve funding for the Los Fresnos Little League in a total amount of $19,000. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Gentlemen, thank you for a great job. Keep doing it. We're behind you, and don't ever think that people don't know the work and sacrifice you put into it. Thank you very much.
I think it's just the wise that don't know it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number E4, consideration and action to approve change order number 1 for the Los Fresnos 2021 Street Sidewalk and Sewer Improvement Project. And that's on page 11 of your packet. Mr. Milo?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it's a $600 increase. If you'll look on page 12, it shows you the two areas. The increase was install concrete driveway of $892.50, and then decrease, didn't have as much sidewalk as what they thought, of $292.50. And what it was is, whenever they started the project, there was no driveway there, and someone came along and put their driveway in, so we cut it to do the sidewalk and the street, and so we had to put it back. So that's the difference. Not too much.
Thank you, Mr. Milo. Any questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve consideration and action to approve change order number 1 for the Los Fresnos 2021 Street Sidewalk and Sewer Improvement Projects.
And I'll second that motion to approve the change order number 1 for the Fresno's 2021 Street Sidewalk Project. And I guess the increase will be $600.
Is that the correct amount, Mr. Mullin? Okay. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to action item D5, consideration and action to approve change order number 1 for the Veterans Memorial Project, and that's on page 14 of your packet. Mr. Milo?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is, when they bid the project, they only bid to have a recorder set in there. And whatever we put at the time would be it. And that's not what we wanted. We wanted to be able to update it and change it for any various reasons that we might need to. So to do that, we've got to run internet cables from here and a chute out there, and also have a button, and we'll be able to play all the 6 different branches, but we'll be able to record the audio, and here it'll play out there. And so this system will do that. The city's already approved to do it for their half. and we had split it 50/50, so the 17,935 is the other half of it.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. As we probably recall, we've already been through this, had the discussion about what we want out there. We want it to be active as far as not just go and read a sign. We want it to be, I forget the word, but it involves more than just a sign. So I think it's only fair we pay our half, and our half is 17,935, and continue with the project and make it something really worthy of our veterans, which is very little compared to what they've sacrificed. Those are my comments. Anybody else has comments, questions, discussion?
I'm going to make a motion to approve the change order to number 1 for the Veterans Memorial Project. The cost was $35,870. The city's agreed to pay 50% of it, and the CDC's portion would be $17,935.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. We approve funding for the Veterans Memorial Project. Approve change order number 1. Is that correct, Mr. Mala? Change order number 1 for the Veterans Memorial Project. There's a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments, discussion?
I have a question. I know you originally said you were gonna try to see if they could do it by Memorial Day. Is that gonna happen?
No comment. I'm not gonna push a day because I think they only worked a couple of days since your last meeting. They've got to change something on it, so they're redesigning a couple of columns on it to make where you can pass by in front of them easier. So to answer your question, I would hope so. We're still 2 months, but I don't want to commit.
Any further questions, comments? That being the case, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to last item, action item E6, consideration and action to approve the CDC 2022 and 2023 audit report. That's page 20 of your packet, Mr. Milo.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, on page 114 is the first page, and it just shows your assets and liabilities. Assets went up mainly due to more cash on hand because you were saving it for these couple of projects. As you can see, total assets is $702,000, up from $457,000, so that is good. A few liabilities, just payments that were in process at the end of the year. So we do have some $25,000 in liabilities. That leaves a fund balance of $676,950, which is considerably up from last year. You can see it on the next page, page 22. You can see our growth from 2022 to 2023. The sales taxes were $542,108 last year. They went to $612,815. So again, mentioned earlier about the business community continuing to grow and thrive. And then the next line item, you can see interest expense is way up, which is good, although it cost us more to borrow money. We're not borrowing any money, but it helps the savings account gain interest compared to prior years. So you can see $12,000 is substantial compared to what it's been. So expenditures, we brought in $625,489. and only spent $338,189. So we had excess revenue of $287,300. You combine that with the $389,650 that we had at the beginning of the year, brings our extra rainy day fund balance of $676,950. And so you might say, well, what is that after we do the Veterans Memorial and the street repair? How will that affect that balance? We will still have $275,450. And so considerable amount, because we're already taking that out of the current year's budget. So, and we're about halfway done with some of those funding. So still looking very, very good, so that we have enough for another project if it comes forward. And that's all my report.
Thank you, Mr. Milo. Very, very good news. My comment on this report is that, let me see, I think maybe, Dana, you were the only one on here when we started, because I know Walmart wasn't here. And one of the things we have to consider is a big project like Walmart, or a big store, either grocery chain or something like that. It's going to take a lot of money. And we happen to luckily have a lot of money, but we need to keep it in the, close to our vest, so that when that business that's come down and knocks on our door, we have open arms and a healthy pocketbook. Those are my comments. Anybody else? Do I hear a motion to approve the audit report?
I'm going to make a motion to approve the CDC 2022-2023 audit report as stated on the agenda.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. We approve the CDC 2022-2023 audit report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. I don't see Mr. Martinez. Are you going to report for him? Go ahead.
Desi's wife had surgery today, so she was still in recovery, so I told him not to come. The only thing in his report that I'd like to mention is Saturday will be the Earth Day event at the Nature Park from 9 a.m. till noon. If you had the opportunity to go last year, it was pretty cool. Went way past the expectations of what we thought was going to be available, and I think we'll see that again this year. It's just promoting nature and taking care of our environment and being able to enjoy the outdoors. Earth Day is actually 2 weeks later officially, but there was conflicts where we couldn't do it that day, so we're doing it for our community this Saturday. The school had some conflicts as well as some other people, so we thought it was best for this Saturday. So come out if you have an opportunity to spend a little bit of time.
Thank you, Mr. Milo, for covering for Mr. Martinez. I wish his wife well on my part, and I'm sure everybody else on the CDC. Moving on to F1. Moving on to G, report by General Manager. Under A, Veterans Memorial, Mr. Milo.
Yeah, I mentioned under the other item, one of the things that the engineer's going to take care of all of the cost on this, but I could have brought a picture, but there's 6 columns. There you go. Thank you. The 2 in the middle are too close to the the circle where the star is. And so movement across there would be almost impossible, even walking, and it sure couldn't a wheelchair. So what they're going to do is they're going to take these two out and put them on the outer edge, and it'll still be there, and actually we'll be able to do some other writing in honor of our veterans, because we didn't have that ability because it was all covered up with those columns. So I think in the end it's going to be better, but they're going to move those columns out to the end. And I think it was just going to say Los Ferias Veterans Memorial, and then we're going to probably put below that honoring our veterans, or some kind of wording that will be good. So I do think it'll be better in the end, and it'll allow movement from all 6 of them around. So that's been the delay since the last meeting, and like I say, it was a mistake on the engineer, so there's no cost to us. They will take care of that.
Does that conclude your report, Mr. Mata?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item H, the time is